One night after her family went to bed, Sheree took the rowboat out, planning to find a quiet spot in the middle of the river.
Today, looking at their writing, the feedback from you guys in terms of their creativity and their storytelling, I'm really encouraged by that, about how much they have actually got to offer.
The aim at Brewarrina was to support the children in their narrative writing, to help them develop their visual literacy skills in publishing their work, and also integrating their local language of Namba to develop that strong cultural connection.
So there's a lot of questions about rules. And one of my comments back, I said, you're the author, you make up all the rules. What does your audience want? And she instantly had permission to do what she wanted to on that page.
In order for children to give themselves permission, they need to have the confidence that they've got the skills to be great writers. And the children of Brewarrina had fantastic ideas and some really beautiful descriptive writing. And our job was to come in and give them some strategies that were really tactile and hands-on to help them draw out that great writing and restructure what they had to create a fantastic narrative. It's important to find strategies to support children who are reluctant writers, because you don't want them to rewrite, rework and redo when they've already worked so hard to get to that point. I think the children felt very valued and celebrated, and that was an important part of them achieving success in their writing.
It's really interesting to see the structure of taking the story they've already written and then picking something as a sizzling start and using that and reworking it. I think that's been really good for me and for them to see, physically cutting it up and reordering it and putting details in where those connections haven't worked. And it's been very good from an editing point of view to help them understand that actually as part of that cutting up and chopping around, you might chuck out 2 or 3 paragraphs, and it helps them see what's relevant to the story because they've broken it up so much.
To write well, you have to be exposed to good writing, and that comes from reading great literature, but it also comes from sharing the great work of other children. And Littlescribe allows us to do that, and allows other children around the country and around the world to become inspired by the writing of their peers. And that's something that the children at Brewarrina were really excited about. They kept asking, is my book going to look like that? Is that what we're producing? So it was a huge motivating factor for them.
The biggest thing for me came at the end of the day when I saw how much care they were taking in presentation, especially for things like their artwork. A lot of the time with their artwork, they don't see a purpose of that outcome. So tying in that illustration, and because it was representing their writing, which they'd invested very heavily in, and because they'd seen how it would be published as an end product, it made a big difference in how much care they were taking.
Texts today in society are highly visual, so it's really important that we are teaching children about the relationship between visual and textual elements in their writing, and that they come together to communicate a certain idea. One strategy we used was to break up a piece of paper into 8 parts, and then the children looked at their writing and decided what were the key words and elements in each section that needed to be represented in an image. And then they had to just draw 8 small pictures as opposed to having to fill a whole page. So that was much more achievable. It also then allowed them to play around with how they would organise their writing and their images on a page.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see how important that link is between the writing and the illustration, because I think you tend to forget that as children move up through school, but it's so powerful. We've got lots of local languages in the area, but the one local to the area the land the school is on, is Namba. They add vocabulary that they would like to have the language word for as well. And if there are any that are not on our posters or on the online dictionary, to ask our expert, who's our deputy principal of the Connected Communities School.
Each book can get tagged in the library. So you're creating a school library now.
Yeah.
And in that you can tag each book that has different languages in it. So you'll actually be creating a live library of any book that has your local language in it.
Cool.
and be able to look at that, either come back in and get used and think about how they might want to use that and pass that on to the other kids in the school.
Nice.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah.